Through their first 8 games, the Kings are sitting at 4-5 and have looked really disappointing. Obviously, a lot of these struggles have to do with the loss of De'Aaron Fox, who's missed the last 5 games due to a sprained ankle. However, these issues also boil down to the struggle of a lot of the team's role players who haven't really played well this season, regardless of if Fox has been healthy or not. Guys like Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, and Davion Mitchell really haven't been pulling their weight, and it's had a drastic effect on the Kings' offense. Last season, the Kings were so successful because they, statistically at least, had one of the best offenses of all time despite having a bottom 5 defense. This time around though, the Kings still have that bottom tier defense, but their offense has been amongst the worst in the league as well. Despite this, I'm really not worried about this Kings team and think a lot of people have been overreacting to their struggles. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the Kings' underwhelming start to the season, how sustainable this lack of success may be, as well as what they can do to turn it around. If you're new to the channel and enjoy this content, please remember to like and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 1,500 subscribers by the halfway point of the NBA season, and any help with that is greatly appreciated. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. Like I said, the Kings' offense has been pretty damn bad throughout their first 8 games. In this time, Sacramento has an offensive rating of 109.1, which ranks 24th in the league, as well as an effective field goal percentage of 50.9%, which is 27th, and are currently 24th in pace. When you consider that last season, the Kings were first in offensive rating, second in effective field goal percentage, and 12th in pace, it's pretty clear to see that there's a big issue here. Now, I will say a lot of these issues, especially their pace, can be chopped up to a lack of De'Aaron Fox, who was off to an absurd start to the season. Fox not only provides a ton of stability at point guard, but the speed at which he plays the game can help attribute to the drop of pace the team has seen this season. Fox has only played in 3 games this season due to the aforementioned ankle injury. However, in this time, he's averaged 31 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists while shooting 48% from the field and 37% from 3 on 8 attempts. Are all of these numbers sustainable? Likely not, especially in terms of his 3-point percentage, but regardless, he's obviously still a very important piece to the Kings. With Fox on the floor, the Kings have an offensive rating of 121.3, which is obviously a big improvement to where they're currently at, but with Fox off, their rating drops all the way down to 103.1. Now, I'm sure you guys are probably all having the most no shit dumbass moment right now, but it just goes to show that this Kings offense relies a ton on De'Aaron Fox and how they really could pick things back up once he returns. However, even if Fox comes back soon, the Kings still need those guys I listed before to pick it up. Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, and Davion Mitchell have all been pretty bad to start the season, and while some will attribute their poor play recently to Fox's injury, they weren't all playing very well before he got hurt. Despite this, I don't think their struggles are going to last throughout the season, and it really seems like they're just going through a shooting slump. While they weren't playing well when Fox was on the floor, I'm honestly sure that him coming back will help bring them back to the level we know that they can play. Throughout his first 7 games, Kevin Huerter is averaging just 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, while shooting about 34% from the field and 28% from 3 on 6 attempts. For the shooter we know that Kevin Huerter can be, this is a pretty outrageous slump. However, something to keep note of is that Huerter is hitting just 21% of his wide open threes on the season, which is just not sustainable in any way. Huerter has had his up and downs as a shooter throughout his career, and I really think that this is just a shooting slump that he's going to have to dig his way out of as the season goes on. Another guy I really wouldn't be too worried about is Keegan Murray, as just like Huerter, he's missing a ton of wide open threes, shooting just 29% on 4 attempts a game, and given that these two have historically been great shooters, I really think a lot of people have been overreacting to the slow start they've had. As for Davion Mitchell, he's remained the great defensive presence he always has been, but offensively, the Kings have really struggled with him on the floor. In the 312 possessions Mitchell has been on the court, the Kings have an offensive rating of 97.8, which is in the first percentile. I will say though that since Fox has gone out, we've seen a bit of a jump from him offensively in these 4 games, not including the Kings' most recent game against the Thunder. Mitchell's been averaging 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists per game, while shooting 44% from the field and 42% from 3 on about 5 attempts. Despite this, it's still pretty clear that the Kings offense, again, this is a no shit moment, is much better when Fox is on the floor, but hopefully Mitchell can keep up this level of play on offense when Fox comes back, because it would be a big boost compared to how he was playing prior. That isn't to say, though, that there haven't been any positive for the Kings thus far, as a couple players have been performing very well despite the slow start, and while they've definitely had questionable moments, both Domantas Sabonis and Harrison Barnes have been playing up to par this season and have helped keep Sacramento afloat without De'Aaron Fox. Through 7 games, Sabonis is averaging 17 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, while shooting 58% from the field and 25% from 3 on 1 attempt. Again, he's had some iffy moments, but overall, he's had a very solid start offensively and was a big part of the Kings' first win without De'Aaron Fox, dropping 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists against the Blazers. As for the Kings in general, I really wouldn't be too worried. Their shooters are going to warm up as the season goes on, and once De'Aaron Fox comes back, the offense in general is going to be ran much smoother, faster, and more efficiently. Without Fox, the Kings have been really up and down, and they started off by losing to the Warriors by just 1, and then getting blown out in back-to-back games by the Rockets of all teams, before finally catching a win, beating the Trailblazers in overtime. While the record of 1-3 isn't good by any means, it's still somewhat impressive that they almost beat the Warriors without De'Aaron Fox. It's just unfortunate that they got their backs blown out by a team like the Rockets in consecutive games. Really, the Kings' 2 biggest issues are incredibly unsustainable, and once Fox comes back, the offense is going to be opened up way more than it currently is, as teams fear his ability on dribble penetration plays, as well as his abilities as an overall scorer, much more than anything Davion Mitchell does at point guard, regardless of how well he's playing. Not only will Fox help create room for his shooters more than Mitchell ever could, but the overall shooting slump both Murray and Herter have gone through thus far isn't sustainable whatsoever. These two have never really been bad shooters, so again, I just think that they're going through a tough stretch. Overall, I'd say not to be too worried about this Kings team as the season goes on. While their defense is likely going to remain an issue like it was last season, their offense is probably going to continue to be one of the best units in the NBA once De'Aaron Fox returns, and honestly, I'm really excited to see where this Kings team will end up in the Western Conference standings by the end of the season, as they're still really fun to watch. But with that being said, I'm going to cut things off here. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe so I can reach my goal of 1,500 subscribers by the halfway point of the season. Let me know in the comments below where you think the Kings could end up in the standings by the end of the year. And let me know what you think of this more reactionary, not super in-depth content. It's something I've enjoyed making, and it's a little more laid back than my usual videos. So again, just let me know. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.